the first day. Then before we begin, let me inform you the agenda, the general agenda for today's Accounting Global Week 2023. The first online guest speaker session will begin shortly, and the second session will begin at 12 noon Malaysia time. The opening ceremony will be held today at 2:30 p.m. Malaysian time. And then as a host, we are delighted to welcome you to the Accounting Global Week 2023 with a team of accountants at faculty. This event is organized by Faculty of Accountancy, University Teknologi Mara, Perlis Branch, Malaysia, in collaboration with Universitas Islam Riau, Universitas Airlangga, Universitas Sumatera Utara from Indonesia, Ratapung College, Raja Manggala University of Technology Sriwijaya, Thailand, and University of Facts, SFAC, Tunisia. Selamat datang diucapkan kepada semua yang berada di dalam laman Webex ini untuk Accounting Global Week 2023. Bagi pihak tuan rumah, kami mengucapkan selamat datang pada semua tetamu daripada Malaysia, Indonesia dan juga Thailand. Acara kita akan bermula sebentar sahaja lagi dengan syarahan tamu oleh guest speaker pertama kita, iaitu Dr. Associate Professor Dr. H. Zulhelmi dari Universitas Islam Riau Pekanbaru, Indonesia. For those who just entered, we wish you a welcome and are delighted to welcome you to the Accounting Global Week 2023 with a team of accountants at the faculty. This event is organized by Faculty of Accountancy, University Teknologi Mara, Perlis Branch, Malaysia, in collaboration with Indonesia from Universitas Islam Riau, Universitas Airlangga, Universitas Sumatera Utara, Ratapung College, Raja Manggala University of Technology Sriwijaya, Thailand, and University of SFAC, Tunisia. So, for your information, the general agenda for today's Accounting Global Week 2023 is we are going to have our first guest speaker shortly, and then followed by the second session will begin at 12 noon of Malaysian time, and we shall meet again at the evening at 2:30 for the opening ceremony. Waalaikumsalam, Dr. Zulhelmi.
Dengar suara
Dengar clear, Dr.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam, Doktor.
Waalaikumsalam. Dah dengar suara?
Dengar ya.
Baru dengar tadi. Tak dengar tadi dah.
Tadi Doktor tak respon, saya risau tak dengar.
Oh ya, dah dengar dah.
Okey.
Alhamdulillah.
Slide Doktor okey?
Okey, saya cuba dulu.
Okey, cuba dulu. Alright, boleh. Nampak. Okey.
Nampak dah? Okey.
Okey Doktor, kita ada masa lebih kurang 1 jam 15 minit. Dan mungkin Doktor punya presentation about 1 hour, and then we do have a question and answer. Tanya jawab kira-kira 15 minit. InsyaAllah.
Okay, boleh insyaAllah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Salam siang dan sawadika. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, welcome to the first day of Accounting Global Week 2023. And then this event is organized by Faculty of Accountancy, University Technology Mara Perlis Branch, Malaysia, in collaboration with Universitas Islam Riau, Universitas Airlangga, Universitas Sumatra Utara from Indonesia, Ratapum College, Raja Manggala University of Technology Sriwijaya, Thailand, and University of Asfac, Tunisia. So we are very delighted to welcome you to the Accounting Global Week 2023 with the theme of Accountant at Faculty. To seek blessing from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for today, let us recite Al-Fatiha. Terima kasih. Thank you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce our first guest speaker. Dr. H. Zulhelmi is an associate professor, come as Wakil Dekan 3 Bidang Kemahasiswaan dan Alumni, or Deputy Dean 3 Student Affairs and Alumni at the Faculty of Economic and Business, Universitas Islam Riau, Pekanbaru, Indonesia. He obtained his first degree in accounting from STYKPN, Yogyakarta, before pursuing his master in public sector accounting in Universitas Gadjah Mada, Indonesia. He then completed his Doctor of Philosophy in Sharia Accounting from University Utara, Malaysia. Dr. H. Zulhelmi has served UIR for 24 years and has extensive experience as a lecturer, administrator, and also as a researcher. He has extensive experience in teaching courses related to Islamic accounting, zakat accounting, research methodology, public sector accounting, accounting theory, and management handling system. He has also successfully produced a lot of articles in journal and books, and actively involved in corporate social community service. Today, Associate Professor Dr. H. Zulhelmi will be addressing the topic, the role of Islamic accountability in strengthening sustainability of business. Without further ado, please welcome Associate Professor Dr. H. Zulhelmi, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Cik Muhammad Ismail. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Innalhamdulillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inu wa nastaghfiruh wa na'udzu billahi min syururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina may yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa min fala hadiya lahu. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la syarika lah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah nabiyya ba'd. Alhamdulillah wa syukurillah for this day in the morning we got a very money, yeah, very relaxed to other. And the first time I will present my paper, because before I will present my paper, this very thank you very much for UTM Perlis give me a time to present my paper, because I will always present. I will always make paper, because this I will publish to journal. So this time for me to publish journal, maybe Indonesia Sinta 1, 2, 3, maybe in international Scopus 3 or 4. And I would like to Allah SWT, because we all give time to live, to live, because not all human being live now. Nah, mungkin saya menggunakan dua bahasa, bahasa and English, and maybe in Arabic, because my student maybe attend this time. So maybe English, bahasa Melayu, bahasa Indonesia. I correct the first Muhammad Ismail because I am not University Utara Malaysia. I am University of Malaya, not University Utara Malaysia. Correction. Alumni University of Malaya, not Utara Malaysia. I will share my presentation. The role of stability of business. I will choose this theme or title because now we all know all the words issue of sustainability hot, because many environmental and social and economy will be disruption because of consumption of human very because very lack. So I will prepare this presentation. The first introduction to accountability and fikih muamalah. 3, the concept of practice Islamic accountability. The 4th, accountability and state, Islamic accountability and business sustainability, and closing. The monetary crisis, especially in Asia or Asia Tenggara, Indonesia, maybe Malaysia, Korea, merasakan betapa rusaknya kejadian krisis moneter itu merusak segala sendi kehidupan. So akhirnya mereka menerapkan implementing governance, tata kelola atau tadbir urus. In Malaysia, I will the title tadbir urus in Islamic banking in Indonesia. Krisis moneter ini menyebabkan kita merasa adanya kelemahan dalam tata kelola atau the weak of governance. So we know blessing in the guise this mind because the occurrence of monetary crisis, namely if opened by Eiffel, the best concept and practice, sehingga kita tahu ketika terjadinya krisis itu akibatnya orang mencari tahu mengapa terjadinya krisis moneter, dan the big factor is the weak of governance. So kelemahan di dalam bisnis itu adalah banyak mengabaikan faktor agama atau religion. If you ignore the factor religiosity atau religion, it will cause failure of after failure. Jadi kegagalan demi kegagalan pasti akan terkena dampak pada masyarakat atau umat. Therefore, many intellectual academics and practitioners see that it's necessary to apply religious elements. We call Islamic view. Jadi pandang Islam atau Islamic perspektif ini itu banyak orang mengabaikan atau seolah-olah tidak perlu, sehingga terjadilah namanya krisis, kegagalan bisnis in every business. What relationship accountability and fikih? We know that Islam is a system of life that regulates all aspects of life, both in ritual matters such as akidah and worship, as well as muamalah issues such as government politics, the economy, education, and social system. Sehingga saat ini kita melihat bahwa seolah-olah tidak ada hubungan antara bisnis dengan agama. Nah, ini salah satu faktor utama menyebabkan rusaknya sendi-sendi kehidupan dalam bisnis, sehingga perlu ada namanya accountability atau pertanggungjawaban dan hubungan dengan fikih atau fikah ya, fikah. Oleh sebab itu, amanah dikatakan secara definisi adalah the law that regulates the relationship between one individual and another individual, or between an individual and Islamic State, or the relationship between an Islamic State and other country. So Islamic balancing conflicting interest and protecting forbidden area like interest. We know riba, yeah, baby riba. This very forbidden in Islam. So it's very important to be guarded and preserved, and this does not eliminate the meaning of obeying Allah and maintaining His right. Sehingga Islam itu memang tidak hanya sekedar ibadah mahdhah, ada kepada Allah SWT, tapi juga ibadah kepada dan rangka hubungan manusia dengan manusia lainnya, yang itu banyak diabaikan sehingga hukum Islam ditinggalkan. So what is fikih muamalah? Fikih muamalah in opinion of Abdurrahman, laws governing the relationship between one person and another, and within Islamic State, which includes matters of civil law, commerce, family lawsuits, and state law in particular. Laws governing personal relation with the Islamic State, according with the Constitution, government, financial, criminality, and judicial laws, and the laws governing the relationship between Islamic courts and other countries. So we call the Islamic view or fikih muamalah regulated three elements. Allah SWT with human being with human being others, and human being with environment or lingkungan atau persekitaran. The next subjects, concept and practice of accountability. What is accountability? Accountability is defined as the obligation of power holders to be accountable for all the activities on behalf of the public. Public officials are those who, on behalf of the public, are given political, financial, or other form of powers. So accountability is an active process in which public institutions are obliged to inform everything in order to justify a form of planning, implementation, and the resulting output. Elwood 1993 explains that there are 4 dimensions of accountability that must be fulfilled by the institution, namely the one, honesty, accountability. Accountability is kejujuran. And legal accountability, akuntabilitas legal, formal. The 2, process accountability, akuntabilitas proses. And 3, program accountability, akuntabilitas program. And the final, policy accountability, akuntabilitas kebijakan. And in Islam, what relationship with accountability? So Muslim believe that everything created by Allah has a purpose and purpose. So another in my atau our life will secured by Allah SWT, by religion. This goal gives importance as meaning to human existences. Humans have accountability to God, and their success depends on their achievement of performance in the life of the world. Sulaiman 25. In Muslim societies, the concept of accountability is rooted in the creation of human as God caliphs or khalifah on earth. Jadi Allah SWT menciptakan manusia sebagai khalifah di muka bumi. Human mission on earth is to fulfill the purpose in existence in universality. Abdullah 28. In the Quran, Allah mentioned the word Khalifah twice. First is found in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 30, verse 30 in A'udzubillahi minasyaitonir rajim. ini ja'il fi ardi khalifah. Sesungguhnya Allah SWT menjadikan manusia itu sebagai khalifah. What is meaning khalifah? Khalifah is suatu pertanggungjawaban yang mesti dilakukan oleh manusia. Semua pertanggungjawaban itu akan diminta nanti di hari kiamat atau di yaumil akhir. Secondly, it is found in Surah As-Sad, verse 26. Ya Daud, innajalka khalifah fil ard. So, the meaning khalifah is responsibility from human to Allah SWT. Jadi nampak sekali bahwa kita di muka bumi ini bukan sembarangan tujuan. Kita memiliki tujuan yang mulia, tujuan yang paripurna, khalifah. And khalifah can be interpreted as substitute or representative. In the case, a substitute or representative of Allah on earth, and can also be interpreted as a leader. So we all human being, all a leader. It is respectively different. In the Western world, dunia Barat, Western or dunia Eropa, has achieved the importance of sustainability, especially an environmental, economic, and social issue. We call sustainability development goals SDGs. Maybe we all know this program. All countries, all the worlds must be implemented a program, sustainability development goals, including in Asia, have created sustainable project or programs. So that in achieving sustainability development goals requires planning and control that focus on the three pillars of business sustainability, namely economics, environment, and social. Three pillars. To fulfill this it is necessary to make accountability for the company business, which is then called sustainability accounting. So this with accountability, we know accounting is very useful. So I think berbahagialah kita mengambil prodi akuntansi ya. Di Indonesia kita sering akuntansi is very useful dan very banyak. Very Indonesia we know in Islam accounting digunakan untuk sebagai pertanggungjawaban. Dan in bahasa Arabik muhasabah. Bahasa Inggris accounting, bahasa Indonesia akuntansi, bahasa Malaysia perakaunan. Line 3 and Unirman 22 this published the new published 2022 state the accounting rule with key sustainability issues in the term of climate, water, biodiversity, human rights, and economic inequality. Jadi wajar ya terjadi namanya krisis itu, memang saat ini terjadinya itu di perubahan iklim, air, ya, hak asasi manusia, ketimpangan ekonomi, banyak kemiskinan, itu akibat ulah tangan manusia. Sehingga ini menjadi concern bagi semua negara untuk menerapkan program pengembangan keberlanjutan, sustainability issues. So there is very close relationship between accounting, accountability, and sustainability. It is defined as the obligation of power order to be accountable for all their activities on behalf of the public. The main tool that is able to realize the accountability of business of sustainability is accounting. So this subject, the new subject, I think maybe UTM Perlis know about sustainability accounting. In UU Sistem Riau belum not yet subject sustainability accounting. Maybe this maybe bisa jadi pikiran ya in the future to implement sustainability accounting. So this is very interesting for us, the new issue, accounting of sustainability or sustainability of accounting. IDIN 2015 has collected several research results which show that InfluenTalk is a business has implemented the concept of accountability in the business continuity of efforts is constrained by the business culture of capitalism, namely excessive consumption, which creates greed, the obtaining profit without considering the human factor. Nah, ini menjadi penyebab utama kenapa banyaknya keuntungan atau laba, itu banyak laba yang mengabaikan faktor manusia. Misalnya tidak membayar zakat, ya, tidak membayar zakat, tidak memberi sedekah. Ini menyebabkan ketidakberkahan dalam bisnis. So in Islamic view, zakah, sedekah is very useful and make a barakah for our business. So I didn't have research about this. We know the result of research is proof membuktikan bahwa suksesnya, ya, keberhasilan suksesnya bisnis sosial depend on compatibility, tergantung kepada kesesuaiannya, compatibility, kesesuaian with human development and well-being. So I will explain with different well-being and welfare. This very different because in Western perspective or capitalism perspective, this the main aim in life is welfare, but in Islam, well-being. This very different. Well-being is kesejahteraan tuh dunia akhirat. This mean, but welfare only kesejahteraan dunia. So I will use I use well-being context in business of corporation and not profit corporation. So we can use this meaning well-being, not welfare. The paradigms of development and happiness project, the Islamic and capitalist economic system are very different. In business capitalism, happiness is linked to consumption of commodities. Jadi memang yang namanya sistem ekonomi kapitalis itu tidak berbicara tentang kepentingan orang lain, orang banyak, hanya kepentingan pribadi, konsumsi yang paling diperbanyak, asalkan kepuasan mereka itu dipenuhi, maka mereka senang. Itu di bisnis kapitalis, sehingga halal haram tak dipertimbangkan. In bisnis Islam tentu tidak seperti itu. Halal haram menjadi parameter atau menjadi asas di dalam suatu perilaku kehidupan. Aydin state that the social business model has the greatest potential for success in the Islamic economic system because it is compatible with the Islamic words. Nah, kita sekarang memang mengikuti dunia barat, kadang-kadang tidak memikirkan bahwa kita berbeda dari sisi budaya, culture, religion. Kita very different. Not all from Western we use because this is very different, not compatible with Islamic words. Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand Selatan, is Islamic word is very different. So we must use Islamic view compatible that business. So Islamic business depend of Islamic view. Putera Arifin and Arif 2022, it is very interesting. Is research on the social performance of microfinance institution in terms of examining the impact of financial sustainability on achieving their business goals. So penelitian Putri Arif dan Arif ini memang menunjukkan bahwa lembaga bisnis mikro pun mesti menerapkan Islamic accountability, sehingga keuntungan itu diperoleh dengan cara yang halal, kemudian mendapatkan suatu bisnis yang bisa bertahan. The result proof that financial sustainability is the main triggering factor. The successful achievement of the social function of Islamic political finance. Jadi hasil ini menunjukkan bahwa memang keberlanjutan keuangan itu merupakan faktor pemicu utama, penyebab utama dalam pencapaian keberhasilan dari fungsi sosial lembaga keuangan Islam. Then in environmental sustainability. So in environmental sustainability, Nasir and Ahmed research 2021 proposed that Sharia principles be applied in business process that pay attention to the environment. Jadi lingkungan yang ada hari ini itu kenapa terjadi kerusakan, ya, global warming, itu karena mengabaikan prinsip-prinsip Islam. We all know in Islam environment is very care. Jadi tidak bisa diabaikan, ya. Dalam Islam itu lingkungan sangat betul-betul diperhatikan, tidak boleh merusak alam, tidak boleh membuat suatu eksploitasi, sehingga ini menjadi perhatian dalam Islam. Nah, namun dalam bisnis hari ini, dalam Western perspective, this not attention to the environment. And then the current ineffectiveness of secular business requires an alternative approach to addressing the existing environment. Sehingga ketidakefektifan, ya, saat ini terjadi karena adanya bisnis sekuler. Bisnis sekuler ini the meaning secularize religion with life. So this called secularism ideology atau ideologi sekuler. So these factors why environment is break. So we know about depletion of environment. It is necessary to propose database framework of stability. Jadi Nasir, Nair, and Ahmed itu mengajukan, ya, mengusulkan, mencadangkan suatu rangka kerja berbasis syariah yang baru untuk keberlanjutan lingkungan bisnis. Ya. This we call a new Sharia-based framework. The research findings are supportive for the government and other relevant institutions involved in developing policies with environmental sustainability in mind. Jadi penelitian ini menemukan adanya suatu dukungan yang sangat kuat untuk pemerintah, because we know kerajaan, ya, di Malaysia kerajaan, di Indonesia government, pemerintah, we harus sangat concern or care about environment. So the policy, kebijakan atau program-program itu mesti diperhatikan oleh pemerintah, sehingga ini tidak bisa diabaikan. The government, pemerintah, kerajaan harus terlibat, ya, harus terlibat atau dalam pengembangan kebijakan dengan isu-isu keberlanjutan atau sustainability selalu dalam pikiran mereka, sehingga tidak lepas dari memperhatikan bagaimana lingkungan, ekonomi, dan sosial. And then Basol Amar, Kucuk Kalik, and Arfol 2022 state that environmental protection as the main goal of the SDG needs to make an Islamic view the basis for solving environmental problems, natural resource depletion, pollution, and poverty faced by businesses. So today we know this very concern, yeah, to government to make policy, to make regulation or codes of regulation in life of business and life of not business, not profit organization, mesti mereka perhatikan. So sustainability. It's very helpful. Yeah. Very helpful in improving the implementation of ethics and practice towards the environment properly and correctly. Jadi Islam itu memang tetap menjadi ya suatu hal yang sangat penting dalam memperbaiki pelaksanaan ya penyelenggaraan atau implementasi etika dan praktik-praktik menuju lingkungan yang yang tepat, lingkungan yang benar, lingkungan yang aman bagi manusia hidup. Sehingga ini saat ini kita tahu diabaikan oleh Barat ya atau Europe. Sarkawi Abdullah Daily have conducted a review of the conventional concept of sustainability that has been programmed in DCG. Jadi penelitian Sarkawi Abdullah dan Daily itu telah melihat ya penerapan SDG Sustainable Development Goals itu ternyata memiliki kelemahan atau weak of concept sustainability in Western, because we know SDG program from Western, not from Islamic world. So it's important to see why the application of the concept of sustainability is not optimal in practice, especially in the business world. Jadi mengapa tidak optimal dalam praktek? Tetap juga ada yang namanya kegagalan atau bankrupt of business atau environment yang lingkungan yang rusak. Nah, ini diteliti oleh Sarkawi, Abdullah dan Daily 2016. Sarkawi et al. Provide the concept of sustainability in Islamic perspective. Nah, ini penelitian Sarkawi menjelaskan pentingnya konsep sustainability itu dalam Islamic perspective. The concept that is konsep yang digunakan a basis for each pillar of sustainability is currently dry of spiritual values. Nah, ini ditambahkan lagi istilah Islamic value adalah spiritual value, nilai-nilai agama. Nilai-nilai spiritual itu yang kering, yang tidak diperhatikan di dalam bisnis mereka. Sehingga konsep keberlanjutan itu atau sustainability itu masih lemah ya, lemah dalam arti aplikasi, ditambah dengan orang-orang yang hanya mementingkan diri mereka, tidak mementingkan bagaimana keamanan manusia, keamanan lingkungan, dan bagaimana sosial atau hubungan kemasyarakatan. So Sarkawi et al. Propose this concept. So must be used as a basis for implementing these three pillars: environment, social, economics. So these three pillars must be correlated or related with fikih muamalah, fikih ibadah, fikih atau fikah jinayat. For the implementation of the social pillar, munakahat and jinayat jurisprudence are used. Jadi hukum-hukum untuk berhubungan dengan masalah sosial masyarakat mesti gunakan munakahat, fikih pernikahan, fikih kejahatan. Karena rusaknya lingkungan berarti ada kejahatan yang dibiarkan, mesti diterapkan hukum-hukum tentang bagaimana memberikan hukum yang jera kepada para pelaku perusakan lingkungan misalnya dan sosial. Untuk lingkungan tadi fikih agama digunakan. For the implementation pillar economic pillar muamalah fikih use. So in business we concentrate with fikih muamalah. So this become a framework of Islamic accountability in strengthening the sustainability of business. So that's the title I will choose because we have problems in our business, especially in issue of sustainability in our country and maybe the other country. So I think it is very interesting. We discuss later about this issue. So the final, we know that highest accountability is to Allah SWT. Allah SWT has become a human being as this khalifah. Jadi Allah SWT telah menjadikan manusia sebagai khalifah di muka bumi untuk memiliki tujuan utama. The main task is carrying out his life includes business. So manusia, human being, mesti akan dimintai pertanggungjawaban, tidak akan lepas dari satu perbuatan apapun mesti dimintai pertanggungjawaban. So this spiritual view atau Islamic view sehingga manusia bisa hati-hati, careful to implement business. Islamic view is needed to analyze the business from the beginning to the end of the business process, starting from input, output, and procedural accountability, which makes Tauhid as its principle. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. For people who believe this is a necessity, that a business that want to continue and be eternal must make the Islamic view the principle of all its business. So that business is able to realize a plenary goal called falah, well-being. In Islam, Arabic falah, in English well-being, in the world, and the hereafter, which is different from the business goal of capitalism, which only pursue worldly gains or welfare. So this very, very different well-being and welfare. I think this my presentation to today. Syukran jazakumullah. Thanks very much. The time I will give to Muhammad. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Associate Professor Dr. Zuhelmi, for the presentation just now. Okay, a lot of items have been discovered and then being shared by Dr. Zuhelmi. And then now we open for Q&A Q&A session, whereby those, especially the audience, can just post it, the question in the chat box, or can just directly ask our speakers. If possible, please introduce yourself, where you come from, and then straight to the question. Any question? Doctor, may I start first for the question? Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay, Doctor.
Okay, silakan.
You did mention just now, I mean, called Islamic accounting, or in this particular part, we are going to build stronger relationship between those party involved. Okay, as a businessman, how this particular the Islamic accountability can enhance, I mean, our relationship between, especially on the stakeholder, between the business and the stakeholder itself.
Okay. We know Islam view is very sempurna. Kalau bahasa kita itu lengkap, fulfill our life. So this Islam stakeholder, maybe government and shareholder, and Majelis Ulama Indonesia atau Syariah Depository. We know about Islamic view in Islamic accounting. The structure of unit is we call DPS. Kalau bahasa kita Indonesia, Dewan Pengawas Syariah. In English, SSB, Syariah Supervisory Boards. Syariah Supervisory Board. I think in Malaysia exists. Indonesia, Dewan Pengawas Syariah diangkat oleh Majelis Ulama Indonesia, MUI, Majelis Ulama Indonesia. Mungkin di Malaysia JAKIM mungkin. So this very responsible to make sure what the transaction, all the transaction comply with Sharia, comply with Sharia. So the opinion of Islamic accounting, not fairness, but halal haram. So this very unique, very different with conventional accounting. We know conventional accounting is auditing. For opinions, mungkin kalau Indonesia wajar tanpa wajar tanpa pengecualian, unqualified opinion, qualified opinion. But in Islamic accounting, not only that, but all transaction comply with Sharia, comply with religion of Sharia, hukum Syara. So this very unique in structure of business. We know in business capitalism, business conventional, only the one commissioners, board of commissioner, board of directors. But in Islam, one structure at Sharia Supervisory Boards, Dewan Pengawas Syariah. Sharia Supervisory Board is responsible to make sure all transaction this business comply with Sharia. So this very different. And in Islam, accounting not only make financial reporting, not only financial, but also this halal and haram transaction must be published. In Indonesia, we have regulation of undang-undang perbankan Islam, perbankan syariah, non halal presentation, non halal reporting. Non halal reporting, this mean berarti yang haram. Jadi yang haram itu tidak harus diungkapkan, harus disingkapkan sehingga menjadi catatan atau notes of auditor. This transaction is haram. This is not in conventional corporation, but in Islam there must be presented. Must be presented. So I think this Muhammad Ismail about why in Islamic accounting is very different, and we know stakeholder theory is very concerned, but in conventional accounting only shareholder theory, stakeholder theory. Stakeholder theory meaning all this all the holder, not only owner, but other owner and other ada kepentingan lain ya, itu seperti misalnya government, muamalah, majelis ulama, and Dewan Pengawas Syariah. So I think this my opinion, my answer to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Doctor, for the elaboration. I think for sure that we, especially on the student part, they now know that to be an accountant is not just being concentrate on the conventional item. So we do have another part whereby we have to comply with all the Sharia, especially to get what we call the transparent reporting and in our business. Okay, sekali lagi bagi pihak penganjur, sekiranya ada persoalan yang ingin ditanyakan sama ada pelajar di Malaysia, di Indonesia or in Thailand also, you can just post the question ataupun directly can ask our speaker. And then for our audience, please check, we have already attached our attendant links in the chat room. So at the same time, you can just fill up to ensure that you get the attendant will be recorded and you get the e-certificate to be provided. Any question from the audience? We still have ample time. Okay, Doctor. Second question. your experience
UK.
in University Malaya, that's now you did mention, maybe there are certain especially for the student, maybe they needs to go further on study, especially on the field of Islamic banking, right? Sorry, Islamic accounting. So, what are the maybe the area, the angle that maybe they can look into in order for them to further study, especially in the branch of accounting which is under Islamic accounting or related to that particular part. Can you share and then you give some sort of motivation, especially to our students?
Okay. Maybe I will use English and bahasa ya.
Boleh,
Saya
boleh.
campur
Boleh.
karena ada
Boleh.
my student.
Ya, okay.
Pada asasnya awalnya saya ini dulu kan di S1 itu conventional banking,
Oh,
conventional accounting, I think. And I will say it is very merasakan hambar, merasakan kurangnya, sehingga I get to master of Gajah Mada is commercial accounting, akuntansi konvensional, but di public sector, akuntansi sektor publik. And that's I will master in Syariah accounting, but tidak ada di Indonesia waktu itu. Kemudian saya berhijrah ke Malaysia. Jadi Nur Siti Malaya, jadi Nur Siti Malaya, bukan utara Malaysia, Sumatera, Kuala Lumpur. Saya ambil PhD, PhD filosofi Islamic Finance and concentrate Islamic Accounting, concentrate Islamic Corporate Governance.
okay.
So the title what in Malaysia bahasanya adalah kesan tatbik urus terhadap kualiti pelaporan keuangan perbankan syariah di Indonesia. This my title, dissertation or thesis, PhD. Ya. Jadi the influence of corporate governance in quality of financial reporting in Islamic banking in Indonesia. So this my practice, my experience, this very useful because itu 2020 I take 27 until 2013, 2013. So about 5 years. And I think until now it's very relevant about Islamic accounting. So I think Angel for our student for subject is very useful, very interesting in the future because Islamic the world is very developing to use subjects. So I think suppose our university to use Islamic accounting, Islamic sustainability, Islamic accountability to develop our minds, not only conventional accounting. Because I have experience in bachelor, in master is all conventional, and our hijrah or maybe bahasa kita menjadi mu'alaf ya, pindah ke Islamic accounting. This I think this berkah. Berkah. Jadi yang kita cari itu adalah keberkahan dalam kehidupan. Karena waktu S1 belajar riba, akuntansi riba, pendapatan interesting revenue, S2 demikian. Jadi memang harus kita pahami kehidupan ini tidak lama. Kehidupan ini sebentar, maka mesti bagi kita yang mengambil subjek accounting itu berbahagia. Saya ingin sampaikan ada suatu pendapat yang menarik dari Imam Syafi'i. We know Indonesia, Nusantara, ya Malaysia, Thailand, use Imam Syafi'i sebagai dasar dalam ibadah. Beliau mengatakan, siapapun yang belajar akuntansi, ya siapapun yang belajar accounting, what is learning accounting, pasti akan memiliki suatu keputusan yang benar dan tepat. Why? Dia katakan karena memang ketika bicara akuntansi kita mampu menghitung dengan tepat, berpikir secara rasional. Itulah gunanya akuntansi. Sehingga berbahagialah kita yang mengambil subject of accounting. But accounting berbagai macam apa ya cabang kan, ada akuntansi konven, akuntansi tadi. Maka saya choose ya memilih decide Islamic accounting in the final student ya di final study bachelor konvensional, master konvensional, and yang PhD muamalah ya. Jadi apa hijrah. So this my experience. This very interesting. We have to learn Islam all sangat-sangat luas ya. Tidak pernah habis-habisnya. Tauhidi and the UK University. I'm lecturer. So I'm lecturer too in UK apa Trisakti University Jakarta. We call TSR, Tauhid String Relation. Profesor almarhum ya Profesor Sufyan Syarhab. This is very interesting. TSR, Tauhid String Relation. Semua hubungan kita semua ada hubungan dengan yang namanya variabel terhubung dengan ayat Al-Quran. Suratik proses ayat Al-Quran. Ayat-ayat kauniyah dan ayat kauliyah. Kalau firman Allah SWT kan ayat kauliyah, sedangkan alam semesta, kehidupan, ayat kauniyah. So our variable in accounting, variable our business, variable if we reset is correlated with ayat-ayat Al-Quran. Jadi sangat berhubungan dengan ayat Al-Quran sehingga kita kembalikan kepada kehidupan ini tidak lepas dari namanya suatu tauhid prinsip ketauhidan. Saya rasa itu Mr. Muhammad Ismail.
All right, thank you. I really hope that all of us can inspired by the words given by the Dr. Helmi just now. Saya betul-betul kita semua berharap apa yang telah dibicarakan oleh Dr. Helmi boleh memberi inspirasi kepada kita, terutamanya pada pelajar untuk melihat dengan lebih dalam bidang Islamic accounting ini. Yeah. Ada sebarang soalan, mungkin ada soalan terakhir sebelum kita tutup bagi sesi pertama ni. Any question from the floor, student, from the chat room, from Indonesia, from Thailand or from Malaysia?
Thailand University mana? Maksud Ismail?
Thailand daripada
Thailand.
Ratapung College. Raja Manggala
Kita
University.
ada buat kita ada buat kerjasama collaboration with Patani University.
Patani.
Patani. Patani. Tapi tak sempat buat kerjasama kerana terburu COVID.
Okay.
Tak sempat. COVID. Patani. Patuani University kalau tak salah. Patuani University. Yeah.
University Fatoni.
Ya, Fatoni. University Fatoni. Thailand Selatan dekat sempadan dengan Kuala Lumpur apa namanya? Rangkal. Daerah mana Kuala Lumpur? Bukan Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Apa tu namanya? Lupa daerah. Apa nama daerah dia tu?
Okey, ada soalan lagi?
The article I will give to my article, I will publish I have plan to publish in the journal. So maybe bermanfaat ya, mungkin bermanfaat bagi student di sini, bisa nanti saya send ke nanti saya kirim ke Ustaz Encik Hamdan nanti saya kirim ya, artikel.
Boleh doktor. Kalau tak ada doktor, mungkin soalan terakhir lah kot. No? Boleh ya? My last question.
Boleh.
You did mention just now sustainability performance. Maksudnya ke sekalan ni ataupun kelestarian ni mesti ada performance dia, peringkat dia. Macam mana nak ukur, especially in light of Islamic lah, maksudnya macam mana nak ukur Islamic accountability, sustainability performance. Or we can say that if I'm the businessman, how can I be businessman measure our
Ya,
sustainability performance? Macam mana nak ukur?
ya.
Alright.
Untuk mengukurnya itu ada apa? Ada penelitian terbaru. Nanti penelitian yang 2022, tapi ini dia membuat suatu ukuran measurement menguji bagaimana keberhasilan sustainability. Terutama tadi kan ada tiga ya, ada berapa ya? Financial sustainability,
Alright.
environmental sustainability, social sustainability, economic ya. So dalam mengukur kinerja atau measurementnya itu sudah dibuat ya.
Oh,
Hanya saja ini belum diterapkan dalam bisnis. Sudah dibuat ada 7 atau 8 alat ukur bagaimana keberhasilan suatu bisnis yang keberlanjutan. Kalau kita ambil contoh satu aja lah, satu aja. Bisnis itu bertahan apabila memang pertama dari segi kan tiga tuh dibuat Kanders ya, Kanders 20 tahun berapa dia Kanders mengatakan itu ini tahun 2010 dia mengatakan kalau kita ingin keberhasilan itu dilihat pertama dari segi akuntabilitas input. Nah, input itu ukurannya apa? Pertama dilihat dari sisi apakah kualitas produknya itu betul-betul diminati oleh masyarakat. Berarti diminati maknanya tidak hanya rasa, tapi juga tidak merusak lingkungan. Dari segi mengukur dari segi inputnya diukur. Nah, juga bisa diukur dari kalau namanya service, not goods, maybe layanan seperti apakah memuaskan, senang hati, tak marah-marah gitu ya.
yeah.
Yang kedua, accountability for process. Nah, ini prosesnya dilihat dari segi proses. Bahan-bahan apa yang dia gunakan, apakah halal atau bercampur dengan yang haram, nah, kosmetik kah, makanan kah, itu juga dilihat dari segi itu bisa ukur. Yang ketiga dari akuntabilitas outputnya. Nah, output itu berarti keluarannya. Yang sebenarnya terbagus itu adalah dari segi dampak keberadaan dari produk itu. Nah, kalau produk itu merusak lingkungan, maka mestilah perusahaan itu akan ditinggalkan oleh bisnis, oleh masyarakat, konsumen. Dia mendapat teguran dari government atau kerajaan pemerintah. Di sini pentingnya tadi saya katakan dalam presentasi, government involved in protecting, terlibat dalam melindungi masyarakat. Mesti dia terlibat, government. Tidak boleh dia abai. Nah, kalau hanya membuat aturan tapi tidak mengawasi, tidak kontrol tidak jalan, ini juga bahaya. Mesti ada kontrol dari pemerintah, government. Jadi ukuran dari input, proses, output, impact atau dampak. Empat ini adalah ukuran yang bisa dipakai dalam mengukur. Namun dalam Islam itu tidak hanya sekedar itu kan, tapi tadi kuncinya tadi, apakah comply with syariah, sesuai dengan syariat. Nah, disinilah peran penting bagi namanya Dewan Pengawas Syariah di Indonesia. Kalau di Malaysia syariah sama mungkin Dewan Pengawas Syariah di Malaysia sama. Jadi di Malaysia namanya Dewan apa namanya? Dewan apa ya? Bukan pengawas sana. Lupa saya. Di Indonesia Dewan Pengawas Syariah. Kalau bahasa Inggris tadi Syariah Supervisory Board ya, Syariah Supervisory Board, Dewan Pengawas Syariah. Jadi mereka akan memastikan apakah yang tadi input, proses, output telah sesuai. Nah, itu pasti mereka punya namanya apa alat ukur. Nah, itu yang bisa dilakukan pengukuran secara kuantitatif. Nah, yang susah itu kualitatif memang. Misalnya bagaimana kesetaraan mereka, eh, apa nama kesetaraan, terus keadilan itu sulit diukur. Yang diukur itu memang bisa dihitung dengan angka-angka, input, proses, output. Nah, kebetulan saya kan di masternya S2. Master saya itu kan public sector accounting, public sector. Maka itu dalam public sector accounting itu saya pahami memang lebih mengarah kepada layanan kepada public service. Tidak hanya keuntungan laba semata. Itu bedanya. Maka itu saya terasa lengkap lah. Alhamdulillah lah S1-nya konvensional, S2-nya public sector accounting, S3, PhD-nya Islamic accounting. Jadi dipadukan. Maka saya punya harapan ke depan buat buku ke depan. Ini buku saya yang akan publish itu judulnya adalah Pokok-pokok Pikiran Akuntabilitas Islam. Insya Allah dalam tahun ini akan publish Pokok-pokok Pikiran Akuntabilitas Islam dari sisi ekonomi, accounting, tata kelola, atau tabit urus, sampai kepada audit. Nah, itu rencana. Ke depan saya ingin menyatukan akuntansi, sektor publik syariah. Jadi syariah, public accounting, jadi syariah, public accounting, akuntansi publik syariah gitu. Rencana itu baru ke depan. Karena memang menarik akuntansi ini tak habis-habisnya.
Ya.
Akuntansi tak akan habis-habis kita bincangkan. Selesai itu, Ustaz Isman.
Okey. Terima kasih Dr. Zulmi, panggil Pak Zul pun okey kan.
Boleh, Pak Zul boleh.
Terima kasih. Terima kasih banyak-banyak on behalf of our faculty, okay, for your insightful and meaningful presentation, and with all the facts, and then really open our eyes in venture in what I call it's not a new perspective. I mean, in that maybe in the future kita bisa bekerjasama untuk menghasilkan penelitian mungkin ada, dan bagi pelajar sendiri mungkin dapat gambarannya sebahagian daripada
Cik Muhammad Ismail,
perspektif. Ya,
sebelum itu ada pertanyaan di apa di chat, ada pertanyaan mungkin bisa saya jawab
ada
sedikit. Pertanyaan
ada
di chat
pertanyaan.
ada tuh. Ya,
Okey.
Bro Nazir Awang.
Okay, this is one of our colleague. Yeah, I will read the question. Okay, Assalamualaikum. Which is more benefit to user between Islamic accounting and conventional accounting, especially in the current economic situation, for example, changes in interest rates? So over to you, Doctor.
Okay, thank you very much. This question is very interesting because we know Islamic accounting is forbid riba, forbid interest. In conventional accounting is not forbid. Yeah. So this what the current economic situation. Jadi dalam keadaan ekonomi hari ini, ya, justru kalau kita mau aman, mungkin kita semua sepakat mata uang apa yang paling aman untuk mengamankan harta kita. Nah, masa Islam dulu namanya dinar, ya, dinar dan dirham, monetary units. In Islam dinar dirham. Mengapa dinar? Because it's based on gold dinar. So in Islamic accounting, not revaluation. Jadi dalam akuntansi Islam tidak ada nama revaluasi nilai. We all know in conventional accounting revaluasi aset, ada kan revaluasi penilaian kembali aset. Kenapa? Because this interest rate, mata uang kita mata uang konvensional, mata uang kita itu mata uang berbasis kertas. Kelemahan mata uang kertas adalah tidak menyatu intrinsik dengan nominal, tidak menyatu, dia terpisah. Ini kelemahan. Kalau mata uang Islam, dinar itu Islamic gold, Islamic dinar itu pakai gold, emas, sehingga mata uangnya dia stabil, menyatu nominal dan intrinstiknya. One dinar about 4.25 gram emas. Jadi satu dinar sama dengan 4,25 gram emas. Seandainya laporan keuangan kita menggunakan mata uang dinar, maka tidak perlu nilai revaluasi. Nilai akan stabil. So I think, which more benefit? Islamic accounting or conventional accounting? So Islamic accounting. That's because Islamic accounting, Islamic economic from Allah SWT. Allah SWT telah menciptakan emas. Jadi emas itu bukan diciptakan oleh manusia. Sehingga nilai emas itu natural. Tidak ada yang bisa menipu emas. Tapi kalau mata uang kertas ini kan bisa. Apalagi uang Indonesia ini dengan Malaysia jauh kan, 1 ringgit. Saya barusan kemarin balik dari Malaysia, jalannya bawa anak ke Genting Island. Itu beli ringgit kan 1 juta hanya dapat berapa ringgit? 260. Kemarin terakhir 300 ringgit. Nah, mungkin Malaysia dengan Singapura tentu juga jauh lagi. Singapura dengan dolar juga jauh. Nah, itulah uang kertas. Uang kertas itu disebut dengan fiat money. Fiat money. Uang kertas itu sangat rentan dengan ada namanya krisis. That's why itulah rahasia kenapa ekonomi Islam itu bertahan lebih kurang 1,300 years. 1300 tahun lamanya sejak adanya zaman Rasulullah hingga zaman Turki Utsmani. Karena menggunakan satu mata uang emas dinar. So I think we must kita mesti memperjuangkan kembali ya tegaknya ekonomi Islam. Ya, tidak hanya di Malaysia, Indonesia, tapi kalau bisa di seluruh Nusantara, Asia Tenggara adanya ekonomi Islam, mata uang yang paling kuat adalah dinar. Sehingga akuntansi itu sangat mampu bertahan kalau menggunakan mata uang emas. Nah, Islam accounting menggunakan yang ideal adalah dinar. But hari ini karena tidak semua negara ya, kalau salah negara bagian Malaysia itu menggunakan dinar, negara mana ada sebagian negara bagian di Malaysia masih menggunakan ada emas dipakai, nah, tapi tempat lain tidak pakai. Harusnya kan serentak menggunakan satu mata uang emas. Serasa itu komen saya ini panjang pembahasan, saya ada buat juga dalam satu buku saya tentang sistem mata uang Islam, mata uang emas dan perak, dinar dan dirham. Kalau nanti ada yang berminat silakan di Japri, nanti bisa saya kirim artikel atau salah satu buku saya. Saya rasa itu Mas Ismail.
Okey, terima kasih sekali lagi Bapak Zul. Doctor, we got a very strong message daripada your presentation just now, question by Nazri Awang Ahmad with regards to tuntutan untuk setiap pada kita untuk menegakkan ekonomi Islam. Yeah, that one is a strong message from you. And then rasanya setakat ini dulu untuk hari ini ya bagi presentasi or this will be our first guest speaker session, and then to commemorate this first session, I would like everybody to have their camera on, to turn on their camera for photography session. Mohon kerjasama pada pihak teknikal untuk mengambil gambar. Mungkin kita ada a few screen. Okay, we go one by one. Get ready everyone. Give the best smile. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Next page. 1, 2, 3. Okay, next one. 1, 2, 3. Mungkin ada yang sharing device. Dia juga bersama kita pada ini bersama dengan our guest speaker, Professor Dr. Zuhelmi. 1, 2, 3, last one. Okay, thank you everyone. Once again, on behalf of faculty and the organizer, thank you, Prof. Associate Prof. Zuhelmi. Hopefully we can meet again either with our call on virtual or in UIR also, or you will come to UiTM Police later. Once again, for the audience, please remain, because the thing is our second session will be on at 12 noon in Malaysia time. Right? So we are going to have our Dr. Samba from Samba Adikesuma from Universitas Sumatera Utara, Medan, Indonesia, will be live with us at 12 noon. So once again, thank you for being with us. Thank you, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And then don't forget to fill out your attendance. Thank you. Till we meet again.
Thank you.